Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
And I am Aaron.
And this is Seeking Me Productions, bringing you another installment
of Franchise Deconstruction.
And in this video, we are continuing our discussion on the Man of Steel and the Man of Tomorrow himself, Superman.
Is no question, there would be no real superhero series out there, or in as much interest as there is with the characters themselves, if it wasn't for this particular character being created.
And so, in part 2 of our Superman discussion, we'll be focusing on our way in which we would do a live-action film with the Superman lore and mythos. And in part 3. Yes, there will be a part 3 in Superman.
Look, it's that important, I'm sorry.
We're delving into video games. So stay tuned and look at how we will interpret Superman into a feature film. The Superman property has released theatrical media since the 1940s, starting with short episodic serials that were popular with pulp action heroes of the time. These were produced in both animated and live-action formats from Max Fleischer and Famous Studios and Columbia Pictures. After these serials, the next theatrical release will be Superman's first feature film, Superman in the Moment, from Leopard Pictures. This starred George Reeves as the hero and served as a pilot for the Adventures of Superman TV series in the 1950s.
Warner Brothers Pictures would eventually distribute the next Superman theatrical feature-length motion picture after an extensive pre-production process that included multiple rewritten scripts, directors, and of course a revolving selection of possible leads ranging from Steve McQueen to Paul Newman and even Muhammad Ali. The task was ultimately given to Richard Donner as director, with many screenwriters given credit, and the role of Superman was offered to Christopher Reeves. Reeves would go on to star in this role for 4 films that redefined the Superman character for generations, from 1978 to 1987.
Audiences wouldn't see another Superman theatrical film until 2006, when Superman Returns was released. This film was produced as a spiritual successor to the Christopher Reeves movies in tone and continuity, with Brandon Routh in the role. Unfortunately, the film was a box office disappointment, setting back the Superman movies for another 7 years until director Zack Snyder rebooted the franchise with Man of Steel. This movie starred Henry Cavill as Superman with a much darker tone than the previous films. Cavill reprised his role, with Snyder directing him in 2 other films set within the DC Extended Universe, featuring other than superhero in the DC Universe. At the time of this video, Warner Brothers is set to restart the continuity of their cinematic DC universe that includes a new Superman film titled Superman Legacy, with known film director and DC Studios co-chairman and CEO James Gunn writing and directing.
When casting a fictional character, it's always preferred that the actor looks close enough to the source material as possible. Superman was traditionally been cast with a Caucasian white male due to his original depiction in the comics. Known physical attributes to Kal-El or Clark Kent has shortened black hair, blue eyes, strong jawline, and muscular 6-foot+ height in appearance. Over many live-action portrayals, these features have more or less been shown on screen.
In the comics, an alternate version of Kal-El exists in the form of Al-Zod, who is black in appearance. An Elseworld-inspired film will possibly feature this version of the character. Casting a person of color in the role of Superman shouldn't be too much of a change from the comics' roots. Arguments in favor of this decision point to the concept of his alien heritage. Kryptonian may be humanoids, but the color of their skin is not what primarily defines them, as they are often described as a once proud, highly advanced race of vast scientific advancements and colonizers of different planets.
Biologically, Superman gets his powers from Earth's yellow sun, so naturally, Kal-El will have a constant exposure to the sun's rays. A tan or darker melanin to his complexion would make sense given the circumstances. Another unique factor to consider is the religious context of Superman's creation. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the creators of Superman, were born from Jewish immigrants from Europe. Much of Superman's background reflects the story of the known prophet of Judaism, Moses. Moses himself was a known refugee of Jewish slaves who became the adopted son of the Egyptian pharaoh. Essentially, we will be open to a very wide, diverse net of actors of different backgrounds since we would factor in all that describes here.
Since the debut of Superman, Kal-El's supersuit has been the blueprint for most superhero outfits since the history of the medium. Inspired by classic male wrestling leotards and swashbuckling heroes of old, the full-body suit is simplistic in design, while embracing a red and blue color scheme. The story behind the suit varies on what era of Superman media you're consuming. In many iterations, the traditional costume is from his adopted mother, Martha Kent, who designed the suit while using fabrics from Kal-El's baby blankets that originated from his home planet of Krypton. The material has proven to be just as virtually indestructible as Kal-El's own physiology.
If we were to adapt this traditional look, we would present it in phases. In his earlier years, we see Superman wearing a suit that is stitched together quickly enough for reasonable usage. He doesn't have access to a lot of Kryptonian fabric for a whole outfit, but makes do with some durable material to weave together a functioning suit. The stitch and patchwork would be visible to highlight the struggle and dedication to his work. A more professional suit would be designed to be much more further streamlined and smooth and uniform aesthetics that is even closer to this traditional look, thanks to the more Kryptonian technology and collaboration with Star Labs, a leading scientific department in DC Comics.
A solid foundation is key to any story with its own unique sense of reality. Aesthetically, this world is very much like ours, yet elevated with the likes of superpowered individuals, most commonly known as metahumans. Extraterrestrials are real, and other worldly beings reside within other dimensional planes of existence. Technology is ever advancing with new discoveries happening on a regular basis. Despite these fantastical elements populating the world, there should still be a sense of grounding present in everyday life. In most Superman stories, the tone is usually balanced with light and dark elements. Like our world, there is danger everywhere, while serious situations are escalating. We know these issues to be true, but it should not be forgotten while we strive to live a better life. It's important to showcase moments of joy, serenity, and innocence in Superman stories since the character aims to be a beacon of hope. In the midst of all the negativity that will challenge Superman, the audience needs to see a reason for why humanity has a chance for a better tomorrow.
Superman has decades of source material to mine for potential storylines for a series of films that could build upon a long-lasting franchise. Usually the plot is anchored on an antagonist or villain of the story. Throughout Superman's live-action film history, the most recurring villain is Lex Luthor. This character is known as Superman's arch-nemesis as he represents the antithesis of this character. Each villain who features in the outside media should pose a new challenge to Superman not only in his powers, but his ideas. In the comics, Superman has many foes that are earthbound and intergalactic, who can lead to a variety of potential plot lines. The many sequels that may spawn from the new series of films needs to expand upon the lore and the foundations that from the previous installments, while highlighting the core themes that represents the character.
If we were to start a new series of films, we will start with a story that will address the ideals that were present and story arcs like Must There Be a Superman, Superman, Peace on Earth, and What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. These storylines are good for reintroducing the audience to the Superman character as each one highlights his faults, but also the core principles on why he's the hero he strives to be. The antagonistic force Kal will go up against is primarily the US military and the world government. Set during the early years of Superman, Kal seeks to find common ground with the governing officials on Earth. In efforts to challenge the Man of Steel, audiences will see the appearances of Metallo and Parasite as physical threats.
The second film will feature Brainiac as the main antagonist, based off the stories of Geoff Johns and Gregory Frank. We continue to address the core principles of Superman's ideas as he challenges a being who is detached from itself, empathy, and free will in pursuit of preserving a controlled sense of knowledge of the universe. In the third film, we see Kal-El go up against Mongol, an intergalactic tyrant who kidnaps Superman to face otherworldly entities at Warworld, where the Man of Steel will inspire hope to other planetary races to come together within a tumultuous galaxy. Elements of John Connor of Mars will be heavily highlighted to pay an homage to the classic sci-fi hero that inspired the creation of Superman. For the final film of this quadrilogy, we will adapt concepts of the Death of Superman, All-Star Superman, and the World of New Krypton arcs. We want to approach this with a similar to old epic films of the classic golden age of Hollywood, like Ben-Hur or Lawrence of Arabia.
The main idea or thematic concept that's important to know about the character of Clark Kent, Kal-El, and Superman is he is a selfless person who strives to help others in need because he thinks it's the right thing to do. Despite his immense powers, Superman regulates himself for the safety of others. He doesn't seek to govern humanity. Instead, he sets an example for civilizations to respect, support, and protect one another. In the midst of a cynical, pessimistic world, Superman is the beacon of hope. And that's how we would interpret Superman to a live-action feature film if we were to get our hands on the property.
Now, of course, this is just our particular take on the character with basically our understanding of what it means to actually bring the Man of Steel to life.
And if we were to go even more further, possibly if anybody wants to take a chance at it, possibly we'll look into each film and this quadrilogy in an individual basis. But for right now, these are basically just the concepts of what we were to explore based on our understanding of this beloved character of Superman.
Now, as we said, we need to stay tuned, fingers crossed, because we got to delve deep into what it means to make an actual decent, if not incredible, Superman game franchise.
So, be on the lookout. My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
And this has been a Sticky Media Productions. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment below.
So let us know, what would you actually want to see in a Superman movie? What are the type of things that you were dying to see brought to you to the silver screen with the Man of Steel? Please, as always, like, share, subscribe, and definitely hit us with the notifications if you want to get more content just like this.
And also our social media outlets of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for content we don't necessarily post on this channel.
Because there's only so many hours left in the day and not enough time to do it.
See you.